It's 2024 and it kind of feels a little bit financially like the end of the world, right? And right now people are wondering, is it even a viable time to make money in real estate? Should I buy and hold? Wholesaling, flipping, like in 2024, is it a time to jump back in? Is it a time to jump out? Should I keep playing the game? And I've got resident expert Pace Morby right here with me with all the answers. Pace, how we doing?
Kris Krohn, what up, brother? How you doing? Thanks for having me. I'm so excited about 2024. Going all the way into it, I think that there's going to be this amazing flush of wholesale deals, more than we've ever seen before. And I think that this is the best time to get into real estate, whether you're going to fix and flip, you're going to wholesale, or you're going to buy and hold.
I've hung around you enough to kind of know that you're always glass half full. So it's always a good time. You should always buy real estate. And I'm like, come on, dude, is that even realistic? Like, there's got to be good times and bad times for flipping and wholesaling. Yeah. I mean, I got my buddy, Nick Marietta, that was out there in the luxury game. And after those interest rates went up and that market price really struggled, dude, he had to fire sell a lot of his inventory. And he went from having millions of dollars of equity and he saw that shrink really rapidly. Like, that dude's gonna tell you that there's a good time for being in that strategy and a bad time. What do you say to that?
I actually agree. This is why I don't get into luxury stuff. I see other people get into luxury and I go, first and foremost, that's not for newbies. Secondly, it is the market that gets hit first. It's the market that comes back last. So why would I do that unless I'm an expert? Now, Nick is an expert. He's a gangster.
Yes.
I love what he does. He's amazing. And he can ride that wave going downward. But I'll make a different argument. In 2023, there were other wholesalers not doing luxury market. There are other wholesalers that go, oh my gosh, the market is changing. Interest rates are going up. People are changing. They're not buying and selling. They're not selling their homes. I'm not finding as many deals. You make one pivot to expired listings, the amount of deals are always there, but where the focus needs to change.
So you're basically talking about innovation, where it's just kind of like, hey, first of all, it sounds like you don't agree with all strategies. Like, for example, we talk about luxury flipping, you're like, that is an advanced game for advanced gangstas. But this wholesaling game that you're talking about, you're kind of referencing that it's always a good time, but you're gonna have to pivot exactly how you're approaching it.
Yep.
So 2024, talk to me about what kind of pivots you think are going to be required in an economy where rates are starting to come down, right? The Fed has forecasted 6 rate drops through 2024. You've got UBS and NBC that are talking about, 2.5, 2.7% rate drops, which is huge when we're used to like 7 to 8%, and all of a sudden you get back into the 4 to 5% range. It's not like 3 to 4% free money, but that's pretty dang close. What's shifting for you and for the people you're advising in 2024?
Here's the thing is when you get into wholesale and you actually have conversations with sellers, you realize that most of the sellers are not even dealing with any of this Biden economics and all of these other things. They don't care about what's happening in interest rates. They lost their job for whatever reason. Somebody got sick. They're going through a divorce. They're going through a bankruptcy. They might have inherited a property through probate. None of those things are contingent about what's going on in the marketplace. None of them. Absolutely none of them. So, for example, in 2023, people that were going after, let's say, high equity sellers, or I'm going to go after tired landlords, they found that people that were really savvy were saying, we're not going to sell our houses, we're not willing to negotiate. But guess what didn't slow down? Guess what sped up? Foreclosures. So all you have to do, instead of pulling apples from this apple tree, you move over to this apple tree and you start pulling apples off a different tree.
Can I just ask all the different trees that you like to pull apples from? I mean, it sounds like you've got expired listings.
I love expired listings.
And you go after those specifically when you're looking for what?
I go after those when I'm looking for cash wholesale deals or for creative finance deals.
And then you have pre-foreclosures.
Pre-foreclosures I love so much. Probate are amazing. They happen no matter what. People are dying, people are inheriting properties no matter what's going on in the economy.
I'm late on my taxes, I'm getting leaned up. What does that indicate?
Guys, here's the thing. There's 10 strategies right now that no matter what the economy is doing, there's always opportunity in them. Pre-foreclosures, expired listings, tax liens. Somebody has not paid their taxes. What does that mean? They probably inherited a property that now has taxes attached to it that they can't afford. You'll run into people that go, hey, I inherited my parents' house 3 years ago. It doesn't have any payments on it, but I couldn't afford the $20,000 a year in property taxes. Think about Texas, Florida, Atlanta, Georgia with really high interest rates, really high taxes, property taxes. People are going into tax lien situations every day, no matter whether the economy is going up, down, left, or right. Does not matter. Does not matter. So people that are going on market, and I'm calling agents and saying, hey, real estate agent, I see you're representing a house that a seller's, guys, that's the only part of the wholesale market that goes up and down. The other parts, pre-foreclosure, expired listings, tax liens, probate, those code violations. Do you mean to tell me that somebody's not going through a divorce almost every day, no matter whether the economy is up or down? There's 15,000 new opportunities in wholesale every day nationwide.
15,000 every single day. So let's talk about wholesaling in 2024.
Okay.
Are you for or against it?
I'm for it.
Give me the top reasons why.
Interest rates are going to go down. So what does that mean? That means that market prices will go up. If I'm a fix and flipper, okay, remember, a wholesaler, your client is typically a fix and flipper or a buy and holder. So if I buy a property from a wholesaler today in, let's say, February, guess what happens? By the time I put it on the market in April, that property has gone up in value. That's a great thing. That means my bet on the ARV or the price of that home will be a surefire bet because I know interest rates are going to go down, prices go up. Guaranteed. So you're seeing a flood of more fix and flippers coming to the market right now saying, amazing, I'm going to double down on what I'm doing. I just saw in Arizona, one of my buddies is now pulling people from Texas to do double down on his fixes in Arizona because there's so much opportunity and he sees it's a guaranteed bet. Same thing with buy and hold. Think about this. If I'm going to buy and hold, guess what I've got to do? I've got to refinance after I've done my renovation. Interest rates going down, the BUR method is going to come back. If the BUR method comes back, guess what happens? Wholesalers have more clients.
Let's talk about the BUR method real quick. Define that.
The BUR method is a strategy that works. I don't love it, but a lot of people that are in the ecosphere use it. It means you're going to go find a real estate agent that has a property. You're going to pay near full value for the property. You're going to use hard money to purchase it. That means B, buy. You're going to buy it. You're now going to renovate it. Renovate, R. You're now going to rent it out. Then you're going to repeat you're going to refinance and then you're going to repeat. The reason why the BUR strategy died in 2022 and 2023 is because when you go and refinance, which is the third R in BUR, the interest rates were too high, so BUR strategy people left the market.
Yeah.
Okay? All you do is you pivot.
Yeah.
You pivot. You go creative finance, you do strict wholesale, or you're doing novations. That's another thing. So again, real estate wholesaling always works. The amount of deals are always there. It's just a pivot.
All right, so you talk about 2024 rates are coming down. That's one of the reasons to wholesale in 2024. Can you give me another reason?
Another reason, well, I'll give you the best reason of all time. Every wholesale deal I've ever done in my life, regardless of the year, every deal I've done in wholesale has solved a seller's problem 100% of the time. And I can tell you, none of their problems have anything to do with their current economic situations in the market. Never once. I've never talked to a seller, got a discount on their home because I gave them speed and convenience. I've never once had a seller go, well, interest rates are high or interest rates are low or this is going on and Biden did this. Guys, that's not what's happening. These people are going through life events that have nothing to do with politics. And it is your job as a wholesaler to save them from that situation. So wholesaling has always done that. Wholesaling, when I learned that 10 years ago and I learned, oh my gosh, all I'm doing is solving other people's problems. When is wholesaling not a good time to be in the business? I don't know a single year. I've never met a wholesaler that says, I left the business. If you were successful in 2020 and then something happened in 2023, you just pivot to the list that you're calling on. That's it.
So I've got an event that I'm running right now and you just literally came off stage talking about subject to. And that's different than wholesaling. Can you talk just a little bit to what that strategy is? Because I think they're neighbors.
Yeah, they are neighbors. So when I go to a homeowner, in fact, the second deal I ever did was a sub 2 deal. And the reason why is because when I learned wholesale, I learned that I have to lowball a seller. That has a negative connotation. But sometimes sellers don't have any equity. So if there's no equity that I can negotiate down to an appropriate price where I can fix and flip that property, how the heck am I going to buy that house and how am I going to help that seller?
Can we do an example real quick? I want some context.
Of course.
We have a $300,000 house, and if you were trying to wholesale this house and it needed $50,000 of repair, and you were trying to leave maybe a 15% margin to the investor that was buying it, there's 45 grand, you got 20,000 in closing costs. You're going to have to pick up this deal probably closer to
150 to 170.
150 to 170 for it to actually make sense. So let's just say you stumble across this and it doesn't have that kind of equity. It's worth 300 and the guy owes 250 on it.
Yep.
Where does sub 2 step in?
I come in and take over the payments at 250. So I say, hey, look, I can get you out of this situation. I've got 1,000 stories like this where sellers will have bought the home with a VA loan or a FHA loan in the last couple of years. What does that mean? That means they put no money down.
Yep.
So now they've got a job transfer or a deployment, and they're like, I bought this house for 300. Now I still owe 290.
Yep.
Not only do I not have equity, but I have to now cut a check to get rid of it. And so there's a very specific filter where I can just go, give me all the FHA loans, the VA loans in the last 24 months that they purchased and they got a 3% interest rate or lower. And we just call those sellers and go, hey, are you going to deploy? Are you going to do this? You're going to do that. You couple that with expired listings, that same list.
Shoot.
Bro, it is one call close every single time.
So I want to know what you're doing. Are you doing the BUR method?
I hate the BUR method.
Okay, you didn't like it, now you hate it.
I've always hated it.
Okay.
Well, the first time I did the BUR method, I was like, wait, hold on, I have to go get a loan, and then I have to go and borrow money from a private money lender, and then I have to go and refinance. So I essentially get 3 loans to do one deal, and the average BUR deal takes 6 months to do. A sub 2 deal, 3 days, I'm done. No bank, no private money
So let's
lenders.
actually do this example then. So you got this $300,000 house and the person owes $290,000 and you're excited?
Yeah.
Show me why.
Equity comes, equity goes, but the cash will always flow. I look at people that go, my equity's up, my equity's down. Guys, you don't go down to the grocery store and buy your groceries with equity. You buy your groceries with cash flow.
Okay.
And so guess what happened in 2008? People lost their shorts on properties that they bought. Even if they bought them at 70% of value, they still lost all their equity when the market crashed in 2008, 2009, 2010. The people that held on to that and continue to cash flow through that, guess where they are today?
I know.
Those houses are double, and more importantly, the tenants have been paying down those properties since 2008. That's 15 years of loan pay down. Meanwhile, other people are like, oh, my equity is gone. You weren't using the equity in the first place.
Yeah, so who cares? Like,
Who cares?
It's a timing thing.
Yeah, I get people to go, oh my gosh, you're over leveraged. I'm like, who's over leveraged? I have a 3% interest rate. You can't even get an 8% interest rate. And more importantly, I didn't have to use my credit. I didn't have to put cash in the deal. I have no recourse whatsoever. Now, all of my deals, I'd say 80% of my deals, when I first started out, they were all traditional rentals. Now I've got midterm rentals, I've got some Airbnbs, and I've converted a lot more of my time and energy into multifamily. When you understand that sellers in multifamily just want a very specific number, they don't care how they get there, and you realize seller finance is the only way to get to that point, and more importantly, you can help them mitigate their capital gains tax through seller finance, why would I ever do the BUR strategy?
Yeah.
Why would I ever go down to a bank and go, hey, daddy bank, let me ask you for a loan. Here's all my credentials. And then they come back a week later and they go, we need more, we need more, we need more. It's never ending. And the thing about the bank, guess what? The bank loans are floating rates. What does that mean? That means today they quote me a rate. I go out and find a deal. By the time I find the deal, the rate could be up, down, left, or right. I have no control over that. How about I just go on a filter and I go find the people that have 3% interest rates, that have expired listings and low equity, and I go take over those deals.
So you have low equity. You're into it 290. It's worth 300. Are you checking to make sure it has positive cash flow?
Of course, every single time.
Yeah. And what's your minimum standard on what you need on a house like that?
For me, I'd say an average 3-bed, 2-bath house my first year, I'd say $500 net is my cash flow. But why so little? Or why do I not really care about making thousands? Guys, here's the other thing. Every 3 years in the marketplaces that I buy in, every 3 years, guess what happens? Rent rates go up.
They do.
Guess what doesn't go up? My payment.
Yep.
Because I have a locked in 2.5%, 3.5%, 4.5% interest rate, the property will appreciate over time. I care about cash flow today. I care about having a stable asset in a good neighborhood with a great rate so I can raise rates.
So here's one. I mean, you own real estate in how many different states?
15.
Okay. Let's say someone brings you a really great deal in a 16th state and you're like, yeah, it's $500 a month, but problem is I don't have infrastructure. I don't have a property management crew.
I did all that. I signed that deal. I signed the sub-2 deal.
So you don't want it?
I want it. That's the problem. The problem is why am I in 15 markets and not in 12? Is because I've made a lot of mistakes in my career. One of them was going into markets and I'm like, I'll go double down in that market. And I find out I just really love the markets I was already in.
So are you geo-targeting them when you play the game? You're like, okay, I need to be in this city.
Yep, I want to be, for me, I've got 15 states, but really I'm primarily Arizona, Vegas. I've slowly pulled out of Texas a little bit. I've pulled out of Florida, and the reason being is because I'm more worried about insurance rates going up.
Yeah, because that can go up even if your mortgage doesn't.
And what's going on, now there's nuances here, but here's the thing, people are still doing deals there. I'm not pulling as many deals. The largest asset I have is in Houston. It's 587 units. Bought that seller finance. We raised our rents 30 grand a month last year. Guess what? My insurance went up 21,000.
Oh wow! So that came just in the nick of time.
Yeah.
To net 9,000.
Correct. Well, 9,000 extra above what I was already making. So I pulled out of markets that have environmental issues. So Texas has coastal issues. Florida has coastal issues. I love North Carolina, South Carolina, Atlanta, Arizona, Vegas, and I'm buying a lot in Montana right now, because I spend time in Montana. I'm in Montana 4 months out of the year, so why not have an RV park? So I've got 2 RV parks in Montana, bought them both seller finance, and guess what I do? I buy them at expired listings with people that have low equity. I go, hey, you had a hard time selling that RV park, I'll give you your number if you become my bank, and I don't have to get credit checks.
It's just pure cash flow, man.
It's cash flow,
It's just a cash flow game for you, that's your niche.
Well, it's a cash flow game, but also here's the other thing. I buy in markets that are appreciating. And I look at the average appreciation in all of my markets combined over the last 100 years is 7%.
Yeah.
So regardless of cash flow, which I do cash flow, I do have my cash flow, but I also get appreciation. I get tax benefits. My company, we generated over $100 million in revenue last year in all my companies combined. I paid $0 in federal income tax. Zero.
Because of all the interest
Because of all, not the interest write-off, the depreciation, the cost segregations I did on the properties, right? And the interest write-offs, of course. But I got cost segregation. So here's the thing. Somebody making $100,000 a year didn't make $100,000 a year. They made $70,000 a year, and they earned $30,000 for Uncle Sam. The money I made it all. I actually kept all my money. And that's the other thing that people don't take into consideration is when you buy a piece of real estate, so what, I'm only making $500 a month in cash flow. In 3 years, it'll be $800. And more importantly, in 3 years, my tenants will have paid it down for 3 years worth of mortgage. And I got a massive tax write-off that
against
is
your other income.
Real money.
Yeah.
It's not fake money, it's real freaking money.
Yeah.
So I don't know about you guys, but I hate that. I'm all about property taxes. I'll pay my property taxes all day long because it goes into local communities, local schools, local stuff, right? They have a better gauge on where to spend that money. But giving my money to the federal government
For all those programs that you're really excited about.
Yeah, exactly. Right? And I look at you, there's other ways to do this with jets and other things. There's other gangster strategies to do. Right now, I'm in a different phase. I'm in acquisition phase. And so last year we bought 1,000 units. Tell me 2023 was a slow market.
No, certainly wasn't for you.
Wasn't for you either. I know you were buying and gobbling stuff up too.
Yeah.
In 2024, I'm excited because I did slow down a little bit on my fix and flips. In 2024, I'm not only going to pick up my fix and flips a little bit, I'm also my wholesale business can now pivot back to some of the best strategies ever.
Yep.
I'm focusing on niche lists right now. I'm going to now go back to the more broad list. You don't ever stop wholesaling. You just change your list.
2024, it's going to be a great year to be, I think, in every form of real estate, whether it's the buy and hold game that I'm playing, the wholesale game that we're playing, even the fix and flip game. You just got to know how to pivot, play the game. And my guess for you, every year of the last however many years has been a great time to be in the game.
It's been a great year. The last 6 years in my acquisition mode, it's been phenomenal. And even if the market goes down,
You're okay.
I'm not just okay. I'll just gobble up interest rates at 2%, 3%. What do I care? I have blinders on because I know the strategies work.
If you're watching this and you're thinking, oh my gosh, you guys are in the game, but I am not in the game and you want to get in the game, I want you to click the link below. I am going to get you in the game. There are so many easy ways for you to enter this market. And if you're sitting here thinking, yeah, but you guys probably have money, you probably have credit. I promise you, we did not start with money and we did not start with credit. Nope. What we started with was motivation, and we had some great mentors that helped us out along the way. If you're looking for the right mentor to step in and give you the strategy and help you do it, I want you to click that link and let's get you going right now. Pace, you're talking about certain markets that you are moving away from, other markets that you're moving into. Clearly, you do believe that there's good and bad markets, true or false?
Yes.
I also believe that there are markets that people can't ignore and need to be in. And if you want to know my top 5 markets, click right here. I'm going to share with you my favorite markets that I am in, but I'm also going to share with you the markets that I'm never going to own a piece of real estate in ever.